Welcome back to Newsline. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Gaza's ceasefire plans are focused on a deal to release all remaining hostages. This after talks between Israel and Hamas broke down last month, and it comes as Israel announced a plan to widen its military offensive and conquer all of the Gaza Strip. That's where 2 million Palestinians are. Newsmax's Carl Higby is in Israel, and he sat down with U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee to discuss the war. They talked about the future and also what has happened there in the military offensive.
Before Trump came into office, USAID, the disaster that's thankfully has now been defunded, $2.1 billion, as I just said earlier, in going into Gaza through various different things. And most of those funds, once they were gifted to the NGOs, you lost track of where it went.
That's one of the real, I think, scandals that I hope somebody will continue to uncover, is how many billions of dollars went into Gaza, not just recently, but over the past 20 years since Hamas took power. And what did they do with those billions of dollars? They could have built Singapore. Instead, they turned it into Haiti. It's been a disaster.
Pleased to bring in our panel now. Shahar Azani, former spokesperson for the Israeli consulate in New York, and a veteran Israeli diplomat with us today. And also alongside him, Morton Klein, the national president of the Zionist Organization of America. Gentlemen, a pleasure to have you as we await Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to speak in Jerusalem at a Newsmax event. You just heard Ambassador Huckabee. The information war is fierce when it comes to what's happening in Gaza. And also, some of the information war Netanyahu himself addressed just days ago. Morton, I'll start with you, a news conference to the world on Sunday. What would you like to hear from the Prime Minister today on where things stand, the mission to get hostages home and eradicate Hamas?
Look, the odds are very low that Hamas will give up all the hostages, because once they give up all the hostages, their reign is over. Then Israel can go in and 100% destroy them. It's not likely, unfortunately. But I would like the Prime Minister to make it clear that this is not just the leaders, the Hamas leaders, that's a problem. It's not just Mahmoud Abbas and the Palestinian leaders. This is the Arab people of Gaza and the Palestinian Authority that have enormous hatred toward Jews. They, in fact, these are their emblems that they show everywhere. This is an emblem of the Fatah party, showing all of Israel, the fear over all of it, making it clear that it's not about land, it's not about economics. This Arab war against Israel is about destroying Israel and murdering Jews, not about a state. I want him to say that the Israelis have offered a state 8 times in the last 80 years. People don't know that. 4 times in the last 20 years. They've turned it down every time because it requires them to accept Israel as a Jewish state, something they won't do. I want him to say, to understand that this culture in Hamas and Abbas, they name schools, streets, sports teams, children's camps after Jew killers. They honor Jew killers. This is not an American culture. This is really a culture dedicated to hatred and death. And there is no peace possible as long as their education system and the leaders keep preaching this type of hatred. That's what I'd like to see Benjamin Netanyahu make clear to the world.
And Shahar, on top of all of that, we saw the strikes this week. There was one of the Hamas terror cell's leader masquerading as a journalist for Al Jazeera. I mean, this is the type of deception that they play into. This is the reality of the terror group. We saw the hostages that UNRWA workers were harboring in their homes there. I mean, it goes to no depths of depravity here. Everything that Morton just said, obviously, as a spokesperson for the formerly of the Israel consulate, there's no more important time to tell the world exactly what the stakes are here and what Netanyahu plans to do.
Thank you, Bianca, for having me. And I think that's the key of what we are trying to do here, actually, and what Newsmax has been trying to do in shining a light on reality, on facts, on what's really happening out there. Because when you have people like that terrorist journalist of Al Jazeera telling lies, deceptions, and a campaign of propaganda in the service of Qatar and the Muslim Brotherhood, they're not just undermining the security of the people of Israel. They're not just undermining the prosperity or potential stability of Palestinians in Gaza. They are presenting a real threat and risk to the entire world. And going back to what Mort said, this is what I want to see the Prime Minister addressing as well. The idea that what starts with the Jews never ends with the Jews. And the battle that Israel is waging at the moment against the extremist Islamo-fascist forces in Gaza is the battle of the free world. It's the battle of the United States of America. It's the battle of the West. And it's the battle of us all for our future and for our children. And on that battle, we must all stand together and defeat these forces that threaten each and every one of us.
Yes, and President Donald Trump, such a strong ally to Israel, unlike what we saw with Biden. Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus joined me the last hour, Morton and Shahar, and he said, I want to know the vision for the future, too, the day after Hamas is taken out. We saw President Trump stand next to Netanyahu side by side. Minds were blown when they talked about the future of Gaza, but no one dared to go there before. This administration will, standing by Netanyahu, knowing what could be for the Middle East, Morton.
Yes, first of all, it is very important to understand this is a war against Christians, Jews, and the West, not just Jews. Mahmoud Abbas has made it clear, the head of the Palestinian Authority, we will not allow any Christian or Jew to live in Palestine. Mohammed al-Zahar, one of the founders of Hamas, only a few months ago said, I want the world to understand, first we're going to kill all the Jews, next we're going to kill all the Christians, then we're going to establish an Islamic caliphate to rule the world. We are all in this together. Unfortunately, Europe and Australia and others don't quite appreciate that this is a war against all of us. And I'm so glad that the Prime Minister is beginning to make that crystal clear. We're dealing with total evil. This is an emblem. This is a poster. They make a poster of every Jew killer and put it in all the universities and high schools and schools to honor Jew killers. This is an evil regime whose own charter, this is a copy of the charter, says we oppose any political solution offered as an alternative to demolishing the Zionist occupation of Palestine. This is a war to destroy Israel and then overtake the West.
And here we are today. I have about 1 minute. And real quickly, Shahar, though, I mean, it is Australia and France and UK and Canada, the UN General Assembly. It's coming up. And for them to recognize a Palestinian state here. Final thoughts, sir. I got to keep you to 30 seconds.
Moral shame and abomination that they would cave in to terrorists and give a prize for the October 7th massacre. And that will go back to haunting them in their own countries.
I appreciate your thoughtful comments, both of you, your analysis. We watch and await for Prime Minister Netanyahu. Shahar Azani, Morton, Klein, a pleasure. Thank you both.
Thank you, Bianca. Thank you for having us.
Of course. And now we want to take you live.